Yeah, something like that. It was, it was just the coolest little lick that he. I can't remember. Anyway, but I got into all sorts of different styles of music because I felt like session work required that. So I studied classical guitar in college. I went from high school. I went to a really cool high school that allowed me to bring my guitar every day to school so I could practice when I had downtime. They allowed me to go to the music rooms to practice during study hall, things like that. So, and I took 2 years of music theory and a year of music appreciation. I was in a jazz band, so I was getting to read a lot then. I actually met John when I was 15. So a lot of my biggest influences are guitar players that I knew when I was a kid. There was a guy named John Dinwiddie, still in Indianapolis. He was like best friends with a guy that my sister dated, and so he would come over and we would jam, and he would show me stuff, and I would show him stuff. I remember I showed him. He was like older, like 5 years old. He's like 20, and I'm like 15. And I remember saying, look, like you're playing in C, and you can play pentatonic, C major pentatonic. And I go, you can just move that up 3 frets, and it's the same scale, and it's blues. And he went, my mind just blew. He's like, forget. He was like, so he loved hanging. We loved hanging out together. I mean, he was a really good player. Still plays to this day. But he was a big influence, but John Harrington went to Indiana University, and his girlfriend was friends with my sister, and they came up from school. My sister was 19, so I would have been 15, and he came over to the house, and maybe this was a little later. When did Pat Metheny Group come out? Was that 77? The White Album with a... So he came over and we jammed, and like he's in college and I'm like this 15, 16-year-old kid. He's like, yeah, man, you're good, you're getting there, And I was really into jazz, I was a jazz snob. I totally stopped listening to pop. And so he was, we were doing jazz stuff, and he gave me this. He goes, he thought he was going to see me again, right? So he gives me this Pat Metheny record. He goes, Pat Metheny gave me this album. I want you to check it out. So he left it with me, and it was the Pat Metheny Group record, and I wore that thing out. 6 months later, he calls the house, because you don't call, there's no cell phones.
Yeah.
He probably called the house 5 times before he got someone to pick up. And he said, hey, I want to pick up that record because Pat Metheny gave it to me. And I said, yeah, okay. It's all, it's the grooves are flat,